What's going on, broskies? My name's Shivoki. Welcome back to another top 5 video. You guys love the top 5s and whatever shit this is, basically, you guys love them. I posted on Twitter and I was like, hey guys, give me some cool ideas for a top 5, and a bunch of you gave me a shit ton of awesome ideas, and I did say, I promise, that if you give me an idea that I use for a video, I will show your tweet or your message or whatever in the comments down below, or also in the video. And here you are, Mike. Thank you for the awesome idea. Today's video is clearly, just to the title, it's the top 5 hardest gods in SMITE. Now, of course, before you get your panties in the bundle, say, oh my god, I made one of those gods. He's so fucking easy. Listen, it's more of like my personal top 5, and understand it's not like, oh god, I can't play Ao Kuang. I'm bad at Ao Kuang, so I'm gonna put him on the list. No, Ao Kuang's not on the list. There's some gods that I'm not good at that aren't on the list. Like, I'll explain why these gods are on it a little bit, and you'll understand. Hopefully you get it. If you don't get it, it's your own opinion. Of course, I would love to hear your rebuttals saying that god's not hard, or that god's easy, or that god is way harder than you think he is, or things like that. But I also want to hear your personal top 5 hardest gods that SMITE in the comments down below, and also any cool ideas you have for another video in the comments down below as well. And if I pick it, you will be shouted out, my friends. So please do like and subscribe. And here we go. The top 5 hardest gods in SMITE, starting with my number 5, guys, is Serket. Now listen, Serket for me is a god that is very fun to play. She's badass, she's mobile, she hits hard. She has a kind of a slow start for me personally, but played correctly, built correctly, she'd be complete devastating badass. But here's the issue. She has a lot of skill shots. A lot of things that make it really hard to land her abilities. You have to be really impeccable at positioning, you have to be fast, you have to build things well, you have to really know where to go to get your combo out and get the fuck out and not die. Now, some people can pick her up and be like complete badasses with her. Me? No. The average person? No. If you are Serket main, fuck badass. I can't do it. Kudos to you, bro. But personally, I think she's a very hard god because of her kit, because of how small her light pool is. And also, she has received some nerfs in the past, so to me, she's a very hard god that takes a little bit of skill, has a higher skill cap, and if you can actually make that skill cap and go with it, you can be a devastating beast. So my Serket mains, hat tip to you. You are a badass. Now, my number 4 is one I actually just recently made a god guide on, and after playing him, I was like, man, I can definitely see why this god's a pretty hard god to understand and kind of play. And overall, I have a big reason why he's my number 4, and it is Osiris. Now, Osiris, before anyone says, I'm getting so easy, he never dies, he's a boxing king. Yes, okay, cool, but Osiris is a god that takes a lot of adapting. Like, there's so many builds, so many things he has to constantly change. You know, he might have to build into a lot of different things to become viable for a team, and that's a definite thing. I think any Osiris main watching the video will say, yeah, he takes a lot of adapting. You really have to understand when to use these things, what to build, and of course most gods are that way too, but Osiris is a very, very serious god, and he has to be built a certain way to be, you know, useful in a team. There's plenty of games where you can build, you know, kin size and Frostbound Hammer and do your typical, you know, typical thing, but you won't really be too crazy. He really is the type of god that you need to constantly counter build and adapt constantly throughout the game to be a viable warrior, in my opinion, making him my number 4. Personally, I think he's a very easy god to kind of maintain and understand a little bit when it comes to abilities, but he can be pretty hard when it comes to actual builds. So that's my opinion. He's my number 4, and yeah. Now my next one, guys, is a mage, and I know some of you will be like, yo, you're fucking retarded, there's way harder mages, and I can definitely kind of understand some of you in some points, but personally, I'm gonna say Scylla. I'm saying Scylla because, of course, she's really easy. She has a getaway. She has the ability to have a nice amount of damage, you know, from her crush. But her ultimate is actually not the easiest thing to land. Now, some people can get it really easily. Some people can just get a pentakill, no problem. Like, once again, kudos to you. But some people have a really hard time picking up Scylla, as well as Zeus. But personally, Scylla's on my list. Scylla's on my list because she actually has a lot of skill shots. Her ultimate's a skill shot, her 1's a skill shot, her 2, of course, is a lot easier to hit, but if she uses her 3 to advance, she's usually fucked when she pops her ultimate. So for her, the reason I say her, because she has a lot of skill shots and she also has a lot of things that make her very vulnerable and, you know, acceptable to damage and take a lot of damage and be in a bad spot, and she can't really get away, so it makes it hard for her to live if you're not that good with Scylla, which takes a little bit of a better player to master Scylla. Now, if you can master Scylla, you can be an absolute truck. You can get a lot of serious, crazy magical power and penetration and destroy the entire team as a little girl, which is badass, if you ask me. I had a sneeze, and I knew it was coming, and it just did not feel good, and I feel like I have to do it again. I think it's my AC. There's something in my AC, and I'm gonna say it's a dust bunny from hell, and his name's Philip, and he likes tortillas. Now Scylla is just a bitch. Annie, by the way, my dog right there, she's a beach whale. She personally mains Scylla. She's a fantastic Scylla player, but personally I can't do it. So that's my opinion. I think she's a hard mage. There are definitely some mages that are as well hard. And I'd love to hear your guys' opinions in the comments down below about this one. But personally, I think Scylla is a very hard mage, and if you can maintain her, you can actually master her, you are a fucking straight up G. Gangsta life is a life for you. Anyway, guys, my next one, of course, is a hunter, and I think a lot of you guys will agree with this. You guys look at all the hunters and go, huh, who's a really hard hunter? Uller. You say that Uller has a lot of skill shots, but once again, if you can master his axe and his one and his drop down arrow, you are a god. I don't know, so many cool players, Sexy Rexy, a bunch of other pros. Just awesome clips when you see someone play Uller and do really cool things. There's a guy who held a conquest tournament. I think it was Omar, and I'll never forget it, dude. He played Uller like a fucking badass. I was like, am I watching the SPL right now? He is a badass. Now, some people have a really hard time with the axe. Some people have a really hard time with constantly switching stances and understanding when to do things, and that's what makes him hard. He has a lot of skill shots, he has stances, and he also doesn't have a lot of things that can make him super, you know, if you miss your abilities, you're fucked. Like, yeah, okay, you can build auto attacks. Come on, he has a really hard-hitting abilities, and if you miss them, you're kind of screwed. Yeah, you can run away, yeah, you can jump away, okay, I understand that. When you look at the other hunters, though, you're like, yeah, Neith has a fucking instant shot ultimate, which makes her fucking super easy. It homes on somebody, the worst thing you can do is sanctuary it. Ooh, they're still gonna get hit, but anyway, I think Uller is definitely the hardest hunter in the game. If you're an Uller main and you're a badass, fuck yeah. Personally, when I play Uller in the Joust game, it's like 2 versus 3. I don't exist. I'm kidding. I'm not that bad, but he's definitely a hard hunter, so if you can play him, you're a straight badass. And my last one, guys, this is one I had to really think about when it comes to, like, Guardians, and I'm sure some people say, like, oh, Sobek's pretty hard as well, blah, 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 Bacchus is kind of hard. But when I sit there and say, what Guardian is a very hard Guardian to master, some people have a hard time building her, it's definitely going to be Terra. And I say Terra because Terra has, now that she's received the changes, she has a lot of gambling, a lot of big choices she has to make. You know, if she crushes her little totem, the heal goes away, things like that. You know, a lot of the slow things got reduced, locking people down got reduced. A lot of things that make it hard for her to be a good Terra. Now, I have run into some really good Terras lately, and it's really nice to see that. Some really good Terras who can seriously be very aggressive and very strong and have great heals and great build, just focus around their healing and their cooldown reduction and their protections, and makes them a very viable and actually pretty strong Guardian as well. So I definitely love seeing good Terras, but to me, they're not very common. And I think a lot of people have a hard time kind of mastering Terra. Now, you can say Fafnir. I think Fafnir is my second hardest Guardian because he has a lot of skill shots, but I'd say Terra because she's a lot of things that make it really hard for her to be a good Terra. Now, a lot of Terras play Terra and they do good by themselves, but it makes it hard for them to be an actual support. They're very self-centered, they build kind of the wrong way, and also they're having a really hard time with positioning. They'll kind of waste their abilities, or they'll miss the wall collapse, and a lot of things have a hard time doing those things. But to me, if you can master the wall, if you can master when and where you should crush your totem and things like that, you're a fucking badass Terra. It makes you a good Terra, but to me, she has one of the highest skill caps of a Guardian in general. Don't say Khepri, don't sit there and say Geb. Geb's easy as fuck, Khepri's easy as fuck, things like that. So I think it takes a lot of skill to be a good Terra. So guys, that's my personal top 5. Once again, Sorketo, Osiris, Uller, Terra, and Scylla. That's my top 5, guys. In the comments down below, I want you to tell me your personal top 5 hardest gods in SMITE. Now, there are a few that are definitely honorable mentions, and then I'm sure you guys leave in the comments down below, and I'll probably say, definitely agree with that one too. Definitely really hard. Some of you will be like, oh my god, Bellona's so hard. And I'll say, no, she's not. Oh my god, Kukulkan's so hard. That's an understandable one. He has 2 big skill shots, and if you miss his one, you're kind of fucked as well, so it totally makes sense. But anyway, let me know in the comments down below your personal top 5. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe to join the Broskee Nation. And thank you for being a part of the best channel on the internet. Not really. I wish it was, but it's definitely not. Have a good one. And as always, my friends, deuces, motherfuckers. Deuces. Oh.